And in the ACC this afternoon, Florida State is winning comfortably over previously unbeaten Duke. If Florida State holds on to win, these are how the standings will look in Florida State, and the Wolfpack will be the only unbeaten teams in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Zabriskie along with John Spagnola. Gary Reasons will be on the sidelines with us as well. And if you like rushing football, you're going to get it this afternoon with two teams that go at it, John, very similarly.
That's right. Today's game features the top two rushing teams in the ACC going head-to-head. If you like power against power, you're going to get it this afternoon. Freshman sensation Tremaine Stevens stepped into the starting lineup for the first time a couple of weeks ago against Wake Forest. He exploded for 2 runs of over 50 yards en route to a big afternoon. He'll be playing a lot today. And the Tar Heels' #1 rushing attack revolves around record-setting quarterback Jason Stanicek, but he's playing behind an inexperienced offensive line against the best defense in the ACC.
These two teams first met 100 years ago. They're going to go at it again in just a minute. One of the prettiest settings in all of college football, Kenan Stadium at Chapel Hill. We welcome you back, and we welcome Gary Reasons, who's down on the sidelines. Gary.
See, this is a classic matchup between Carolina and Carolina State. Both these teams, they really want to win this game for bragging rights. It may be more important to the fans, though. People live only 25 miles apart from each campus, and I tell you, tomorrow morning, they're going to be talking about this ball game. Steve?
Yeah, not only bragging rights. Mike O'Kane, 12-6 in his second year at the helm of the Wolfpack. He's got them going, and they need to keep it going. Coming in here undefeated in the conference, 5-1 overall. Mack Brown, after 2 disastrous 1-10 seasons, has turned Carolina around, but they now are 5-2 overall and 2-2 in the conference. So they need this win desperately as far as both the conference and potential bowl bids are concerned. North Carolina won the toss. They have elected to defer to the second half, and so they will be kicking off with Scott Caparelli doing the kicking. He's a junior from Virginia Beach, Virginia. Back deep, Albus Whitted, number 80, is on the left. Number 22, Kevin Mateer, who is a reserve tailback for the Wolfpack, on the right. A high and short kick. And it's taken by Carlos King, and King is out to about the 30. Dragged down there by Wendell Camp, number 36, a reserve safety. Carlos King. Well, Terry Harvey and Jeff Bender have shared the quarterbacking duties, but Harvey, after breaking a cheekbone earlier this season, is in there as the starter. He's completed 58% of his passes so far.
Keep in mind, the Wolfpack had a couple of weeks off. They had a bye week last week when they last played Wake Forest, and Harvey did not look sharp early in that ball game, but he came on later on in the second half and played well.
Rod Brown and Brian Fitzgerald in the backfield, but Harvey going to throw it on first down, tried to hit Fitzgerald, and just in case, Fitzgerald chases it out of bounds because it may have been ruled a lateral rather than a forward pass. 54, James Hamilton, Carolina's outside linebacker, was blitzing.
Eddie Goins has already set 2 career marks receiving here at NC State. He'll probably break a 3rd one today with 34 more yards. Very talented offensive backs and receivers. And up front, Heath Woods would be starting for Carolina today, but he transferred back in 1991 to be with his twin brother on the Wolfpack football team.
2nd and 10. The ball still just outside the 30, and Harvey will go from the shotgun. Inside handoff to Fitzgerald, and Brian Fitzgerald will gain 4 or 5 is all. Brought down by Riddick Parker, 97 and 58, the leading tackler for Carolina, Mike Morton.
Good defensive ends for the Carolina defense. If State is forced to throw the football today, Marcus Jones and Oscar Sturgis can really bring a lot of pressure. And in the secondary, we have a little war of words in this football game. Jimmy Hitchcock said he'd like to decapitate Mr. Goins today. We'll have to see if that happens in the spirit of Halloween.
That'll be a little interesting one-on-one. It's 3rd and 6. Harvey again from the shotgun. Rolling away from Marcus Jones. Incomplete, intended for Goins, but overthrown.
That's an interesting play. I think the Wolfpack definitely saw the game with Virginia and North Carolina last week, and they faked a little shovel pass inside and then tried to run something off of that. But the Tar Heels played very well defending that football play.
And Tar Heels have been outstanding, returning both kickoffs and punts this year, as Chad Robson is on the punt for NC State. Octavius Barnes, number 4, and Leon Johnson, number 12, are the deep men for Carolina, and they are the only ones back.
Well, the coverage teams for both kickoff and punt team for both football teams have to be extra sharp today.
Robson, a senior from New Bern, North Carolina, hits it from about his 26. Barnes at the 15. Ran into his own man and dragged down finally by Kit Carpenter, number 40, a reserve linebacker. But another good punt return, and here comes Jason Stanicek. He's been beat up a little this year. He did not have a good game last week against Virginia, but he holds virtually all North Carolina school passing records.
He does not play well against Virginia year in and year out, and keep in mind they had to go to Virginia twice in a row in the last 2 years, and it's just not a good place for the Carolina team to play, and especially for Jason Stanicek, who has struggled there both years.
A little surprise as William Henderson and Leon Johnson are the 2 starters, and it is the swing pass to Leon Johnson to open the offense for Carolina. He's out to the 34 in the grasp of linebacker Ed Gallen, number 8.
Well, Malcolm Marshall was listed as the starter, but Henderson stepped in. These running backs are all interchangeable. The important thing is to recognize the fullback is going to be key to the success of the Tar Heel offense today. And Mike Hobgood, you don't want to play right guard for Carolina because this is the 4th right guard starting for them this season. They have a lot of injuries in that offensive line.
Second down, about 9 yards to go. Leon Johnson again. Dragging a tackler out near the 40. It's Damian Covington, number 36, the leading tackler for NC State.
It's a good defensive unit up front. They're tough against the run, but in the war of words again, Carl Reeves guaranteed a victory today. So we'll see if all these people who are doing the talking can step up and play.
Third down and 4.
And William Strong is ranked as one of the top corners in the country. So we've got a couple of good cornerbacks playing here this afternoon for both football teams.
On the option, Stanicek is dragged down, but now Johnson picks the ball off the ground, and he'll be hit inside the 30.
Now he's going to be ruled down. Stanicek was on his knees when he tried to pitch the football with both hands.
And what a job Eric Counts did, number 99, who plays in the middle for North Carolina State, shooting through to grab Stanicek before he could get going.
Well, this is after the ball was actually squirted out, but Stanicek tried the option down the line. There was penetration. He was brought to his knees and tried to make a big play and foolishly almost turned the football over.
Mike Thomas into punt for Carolina. Eddie Goins takes it at about the 22. Trying to get out to a wall. And Goins dragged down at about the 35 on a good play. Or he might have had a lot more. Jonathan Linton, number 27, made the tackle. State back on offense. No score. No backs behind Harvey. And he gets it away under pressure. Eddie Goins trying to get a block from Fitzgerald, but will gain only a few. Mike Morton, Fuzzy Lee, number 47, both on the stop. Florida State late leading Duke.
That got a roar out of the crowd here. Not anybody's pulling for Duke here today.
Clemson with a win over Wake Forest. They're in the 4th quarter, also late leading big. And Maryland in the 3rd with a rather substantial lead over Tulane. And certainly the Trojans can use a win. Virginia off, as is Georgia Tech. And very short yardage. Maybe a half yard is all for Rod Brown, the fullback, as he gets to the 40. James Hamilton and Riddick Parker, 97, make the stop.
Well, when you look at the Wolfpack offense, you can see it's a balanced offensive attack. The UNC defense was shredded a little bit last week, gave up some big plays, and that's been a problem all year for the Tar Heels. They've been inconsistent defensively and offensively. And there's Ted Kane, who calls the plays for the Wolfpack. He's on the sidelines. Bit animated right now. He hopes to get something out of this 3rd and 4th situation.
No backs again. Harvey to throw and throws behind Fitzgerald. Incomplete. He was covered by Eddie Mason, number 37. So again, State will punt. Nobody's been able to muster a first down.
Yeah, this is what happened to Terry Harvey 2 weeks ago against Wake Forest. I felt like he just started. See how the ball slips out of his hand? Now maybe it was tipped. I don't know if it was tipped, but it didn't seem like he threw that football with any kind of velocity or authority at all. And these are the kind of passes he was throwing a couple of weeks ago against Wake Forest. So he's got to get off to a good start today.
Chad Robson, who hit a 50-yarder his first time, brings it out of there again. This time it lands short. Johnson picks it up, and Leon is hit immediately by number 62, Chris Love, the guy who snapped the ball. That one only a 39-yard punt, but no return to speak of, at least. CFA College Football on ABC Sports, brought to you by Chevrolet. The cars and trucks 36 million people depend on every day. Genuine Chevrolet. Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. AT&T. We help put your world within reach. And Payne Weber. We believe our most important investment is an investment in relationships. One of the real landmarks at Chapel Hill, the clock tower, the chimes go off every quarter hour. Some people think they ought to start trimming those trees over there so they doesn't block it out. The trees around here are magnificent and just keep growing. In a beautiful setting at Kenan Stadium. North Carolina's second possession. They have it at their own 25. No score first quarter. And the fullback, William Henderson, who's into the game, will gain 1 and possibly 2 yards. As all, Eric Counts, who usually plays defensive tackle right over the center or in the gap, number 99 on the stop.
Well, you know, Mac Brown wants to keep this offensive game plan as simple as he can early in the football game today. They struggled last week against Virginia. He wants to get the fullback going, and in order to get Stanicek in the flow of the game, just wants to throw some short flare routes out to the sideline. Doesn't want to throw the football deep, just to get Stanicek in the rhythm of throwing the football.
On the option, Stanicek pitches to Leon Johnson, who has a block on the corner. Leon running hard with a first down out to the 42. Finally dragged down by 42, Ricky Bell in the secondary.
And you wonder why with option attacks they run the football. Henderson ran this play before. That helps set up the fake. As Stanicek pitches, uses Rissler, 59, cannot get into play. And this is what Leon Johnson did so well last week, breaking tackles against Virginia. I think he's running the football harder right now than Curtis Johnson. We have an injured player on the field, but both Curtis Johnson and Leon Johnson split time on this football team last year. They both had over 1,000 yards rushing.
And it is John Rissler who was shaken up on the play.
And we see right there. Is that Rissler, John Rissler? 59 gets his knee caught as he falls over the top.
So while he's attended to, we will take a timeout. No score in the first quarter. We mentioned earlier that 100 years ago was the time when these two teams met, 1894. Here's the North Carolina, what was then A&M team, or North Carolina State as we know them today, back in 1894. They actually played Carolina twice that year, and North Carolina beat them badly in both games. In fact, they beat them so badly in the first game. At the second game, Carolina played their JVs against North Carolina A&M, and North Carolina still won. A lot of the dominance that comes from Carolina over State in this rivalry that began 100 years ago has to do with a lot of those early games. First down after a 16-yard run by Johnson. It's Curtis Johnson who's in the game at tailback, and Curtis gets it out to about the 45 before he's driven back by Damian Covington, senior linebacker out of Berlin, New Jersey. Florida State now final 59-20 over Duke. Duke's first loss. Florida State still unbeaten in the conference. Clemson over Wake Forest now final as well. Second down, about 7. Curtis Johnson again. First down. And into State territory before the free safety, James Walker, number 2, can drag him down.
James Walker makes the tackle.
Curtis Johnson deep in the I formation. It's a trap play underneath, and 61 Hobgood comes around. That's the freshman starting, so he executes his assignment well, trying to keep things as simple as they can up front. But as this offensive line gets some sweat going in this football game and has a little confidence and success, they'll start to play a lot better.
Stanicek running the option on first down, cuts it upfield. Nice move and a gain of about 9 yards down to the 37 of North Carolina State. Kenny Harris on the stop, and let's get an update from John Saunders, our first visit with John today.
Steve, as you know, Nebraska has the big win over Colorado, so does Ohio State try and stop Penn State from staying at #1. John Carter here is stopped by no one. Takes it in 20 yards for the touchdown, 7-0. Steve.
Thank you, sir. John will be keeping us up to date on everything else that's going on in college football.
Well, that was an impressive win by Nebraska today.
Wasn't it, though?
I'm sure Penn State, although Paterno may not say this, probably feels they have to be as equally impressive in their win over Ohio State if they want to retain that #1 ranking.
Fullback Malcolm Marshall trying to pick up the yard on 2nd and 1. Damian Covington, number 36, again on the stop. These are the updated standings now in the ACC, with Florida State and North Carolina State each with 1 loss overall, and the only 2 teams now remaining as unbeatens within the conference.
But if you look at NC State and their schedule, they finish with some tough football games. They'll finish with Duke, Florida State, and Virginia. So they'll need to get as many wins as they can when they head into that home stretch.
Malcolm Marshall got just enough for the first down. And the ball will be placed at the 36 of NC State. And there's John Rissler, who was injured earlier. Let's get an update from Gary Reasons.
Steve, the trainers say that John may come back to the game. He's got a sprained right knee. They're going to see how he feels. Right now, they've got a replacement in there for him. Inside linebacker Chris McNeil is going to play outside for him.
Thank you, Gary. You see John rooting him on there. Curtis Johnson getting outside. He gets a block and is down near the 30. The tight end, Greg DeLong, out there in front of him. Duane Everett, number 16, made the tackle.
In order to run a power I football, you've got to have good blocks. Right there, number 30, Malcolm Marshall cuts down the defender and gives Johnson enough room to turn it upfield. It's not pretty, but that's the way you move the football when you're a #1 rushing offense, as the Tar Heels are here in the ACC.
2nd down and 4. This is the 8th play of the drive for Carolina. Leon Johnson finds a hole. Nice move. And wrestled to the ground inside the 25 by James Walker.
Touch 74, the left guard 74, Jerness Geathers pulls, but there's nobody to block for him. Leon Johnson just takes it out to the outside and then cuts it back inside. Probably could have made that cut a little sooner as the Wolfpack defense, watch how they flow. Overflow and over-pursue the football, and Johnson's able to cut it back inside. A lot of speed on this Wolfpack defense.
Leon Johnson, another big hole up the middle, and he's inside the 15 before, again, free safety James Walker can bring him down with a little help from Mike Moore, number 47. They are opening huge holes in the middle of the line.
And that looks like, yeah, it's Ken Pettis, who's the defensive coordinator for NC State. It's hard to see these guys with their hats so low, but it's a sunny day. Ken doing a fine job with the Wolfpack defense. They have to come up and stop this drive here. Carolina's going to take an early lead.
Leon cutting it back, and he gets inside the 5 before he's knocked down by William Strong, 21, and Damian Covington. NC State's only allowed 1 drive of over 70 yards all year.
Watch William Henderson, 33, on the toss play. He goes right after number 3, Kenny Harrison, knocks him out of the play. Johnson turns it upfield. I'm very impressed. You know, Mac Brown told us so much about this #1 defense in the ACC and how he was concerned about his offensive line, even though they have run the football successfully this year. But this drive is an impressive, just smash mouth football.
Chris Watson, the backup fullback in the power I. Leon Johnson straight ahead. Touchdown, Carolina.
And Carolina last quarter of every game this year, with the exception of last week's game against Virginia. Good blocking up front. Don Meredith, the center, and left guard on a double team. Jernes Gathers, they help open things up. And Johnson takes it right up through the middle, but a very, very impressive drive by the Tar Heels.
Trip Pignetti on to attempt the extra point. He has made 22 of 23 point afters so far this year. It is good. 4 minutes and 57 seconds remain in the first quarter. Carolina on a 3-yard run by Leon Johnson on first and goal leads 7-0. Only the second drive of 70 or more yards on the NC State defense this year.
Again, a good double team, and the fullback again makes a good block. That's William Henderson, 33. That's the power I formation, and you just run right behind more bodies on the offense than the defense has. And Johnson's able to take it in. So Leon Johnson, impressive.
Well, there might be a little impressive football on Monday night as well. In fact, there'll be a little Halloween party going on for you at Soldier Field in Chicago as the Green Bay Packers come in to take on the Bears. 9 o'clock Eastern Time. NFL Monday Night Football on Hallows Eve from Soldier Field in Chicago. Packers and the Bears. A little black and blue going there.
That's got to be one of the scariest sights in all of football, having Reggie White line up on you like that.
He's a monster in and of himself.
You wouldn't say that to his face.
No.
You can say it 3,000 miles away or however far we are from Green Bay.
That's a compliment, though.
Oh, okay.
That's a compliment. Scott Caparelli to kick off. Kevin Mateer and Alvis Whitted, as usual, back for State. Carolina, a 75-yard drive in 11 plays. They ran about 5.5 minutes off the clock to lead 7-0. Whitted, 1 yard deep, brings it out. Oh, baby! What a shot he took straight in the helmet as he goes down at the 15-yard line. Clay Eddy, number 31, and number 53, Kibusama Mays, blasting him.
Whitted takes it upfield. You know, this guy's got world-class speed, and out of nowhere comes Clay Eddy. Hits him straight on, and that's got his fans really pumped up. Coverage, kickoff coverage has so much to do with the tempo and the attitude of the football game.
Fitzgerald gains about 4. Let's check in again on the sidelines with Gary Reason.
Steve, on the last series, Don Meredith, the center for Carolina, was injured. He was on the sideline. They took a look at his left knee. The doctor took him into the locker room. They're going to take a better look at it. Questionable whether he'll be back in the lineup. Jeff Saturday, the backup center, is in there replacing him. Coach Mack told us that he had trouble with their guards and their centers all week. They didn't practice in pads. They're going to have a tough day if Meredith cannot return.
Well, you got that right, Gary. Thank you. They've had a lot of injuries, as John mentioned earlier, along that line. Second down. Fullback Rod Brown dragged down as he crosses the 20. Mike Morton, 235-pound linebacker and leading tackler on the stop.
I'll tell you the thing about that Meredith injury, too, is that he backs up both tackles. He's the first backup. Draw play up the middle. And, you know, that's great tackle by number 58, Mike Morton, who's the leading tackler on this football team. All 3 linebackers are the leading tacklers on this football team for Carolina, as it should be if your run defense is playing well.
On 3rd and 3, Harvey has it batted down. Marcus Jones at 6'6" and 280 rejected Harvey's pass, and Carolina turns away State again. NC State still without a first down will have to punt it away.
Marcus Jones, one of the best football players in all of college football. This guy can do a standing backflip, and he's 6'6", 278 pounds. This isn't Nadia Comaneci. I mean, this is a guy who is huge and can extend and got great explosion, and we'll see a lot of him this afternoon.
So Robson, who's been very busy, on the punt again, and it's Octavius Barnes and Leon Johnson back deep for Carolina. Johnson at the 29. Trying to find an opening. He'll go down as he gets it near the 35. Pushed back by Mark Thomas, number 24. Hey, next Saturday at 1:30 Eastern on ABC Sports, Jack Nicklaus and a rather elite field of golfers meet in Hawaii as we begin coverage of the Lincoln Mercury Kapalua International. And then at 3:30 on ABC's college football, Miami will meet Big East rival Syracuse. Most of you will see that game. There'll also be Big Ten and Pac-10 games that day. So be sure to check the local listings for the game in your area and with your cable operator with regard to pay-per-view. Henderson in at fullback. Carolina 1st and 10. Curtis Johnson, another big hole, and Johnson out to the 41. Brought down by Damian Covington. I think it's going to be a busy day for the linebackers. Penn State, as John Saunders showed you a moment ago, scoring, leading Ohio State 7-0 in the first. Nebraska, very impressive win over a good Colorado team to remain unbeaten. Auburn with the winning team in the yellow. If you see a highlighted yellow score here on our sports board, that's a final, and that's the victorious team. No teams are winning there. Nobody's in yellow. Option on second down. The option pass. Stanicek under pressure. He will go down at about the 39. Rissler, who's back in the game, the first to get to him. And then Carl Reeves, 85, finished him off.
Well, it makes sense to go play action in this situation. North Carolina's already rushed for more yards than NC State gives up in a game. But Rissler back in the football game. He's an experienced senior. He had nothing to buy on that option fake. And he forced Stanicek to pull the football down and get what he could just running the football.
3rd down and 7. Leon Johnson in at tailback. Stanicek to throw. Reeves is on him. He gets it away, and Johnson has the first down. Eric Counts, number 99, came back to tackle Leon Johnson, but Johnson reversed his field and got just enough to pick up the first down.
Well, Carl Reeves is trying to make up for lost time. He missed last year's game with a broken leg and exerted that pressure on Stanicek. Big number 85. Guaranteed a win, and I'm sure he wants to step up his performance. Watch him come, number 85, from the backside. He'll be on the right side of your screen. Beats the blocker, comes through, and how Stanicek got that off. I mean, you could see the ball flutter as he was hit. What a great play by Stanicek.
1st and 10 Carolina. Malcolm Marshall, the fullback, banging it into state territory. Bouncing off tacklers and getting down to about the 47. Dewan Everett, number 16, and Damian Covington, 2 of the linebackers, bring him down. Malcolm Marshall, 6'2", 245, a senior out of Winston-Salem. Wisconsin has beaten Michigan 31-19.
There's Jeff Saturday in the lineup now. He took the place of Don Meredith, as Gary Reasons told us. Redshirt freshman now in the game. So the line is banged up, but they're playing very well.
Carolina on the move again. Curtis Johnson running over his own blocker as he bangs it out about 2 yards short of the first down inside the 45. John Rissler, 59 on the stop. Texas Tech all over Texas, and Arizona State leading BYU big in the 4th.
You know, we should mention that Shiner that Peck Brown has was just the insult to injury in last week's game against Virginia. The team played so poorly, and at one point a yard down marker caught him in the eye. So he walked away with some bumps and bruises mentally and physically after that game.
3rd down, about a yard and a half to go. Curtis Johnson has the first down near the 41 in the grasp of James Walker and Damian Covington.
Well, I think Curtis and Leon Johnson are picking up where they left off last year. Last year, North Carolina rushed for over 300 yards in this football game against State, and a big hole around the left side, so much so that Malcolm Marshall, the fullback 30, initially doesn't find anybody to block, and then Covington comes inside that block. If he was able to seal Covington off, Johnson may have gone a lot farther in that run, but the first down is converted.
From the North Carolina State 41, Stanicek looking to throw over the middle, incomplete. It was intended for Marcus Walls, who was covered by James Walker.
James Walker covering for State. 2nd and 10.
That is the end of the first quarter in this rivalry. Carolina leads. Beautiful Chapel Hill, the setting on a beautiful afternoon. Steve Zabriskie, John Spagnola, and Gary Reasons. Glad you're with us for Carolina and State. It is 2nd and 10. North Carolina at the 41 of State as they lead 7-0 to start the second quarter. Stanicek on a quarterback draw will go nowhere. Might even lose a yard. Carl Reeves and Mike Harrison waiting for him.
Well, in spite of that bad play there, Carolina's totally dominated statistically. No first downs yet for North Carolina State. And look at the rushing yards. 92 for Carolina. State has averaged giving up only 81 a game, so they've already surpassed that. Total dominance in time of possession, too. So Mike O'Kane has got to get his team back in this football game, and they had started slow on their road games this year. We saw them earlier this year. They started very slowly against Louisville, turning the ball over 6 times.
Stanicek on 3rd and 10, completes it to Marcus Wall. Marcus Wall with a first down at the 28, tackled by 21 William Strong.
Well, Jason Stanicek is usually very reliable. He's the all-time leading passer here at North Carolina. Nobody's in his face. He's not a very tall guy, but if he can roll out and throw the ball on the run like that, that is a good, crisp pass. That's the kind of passes that were missing last week. Stanicek looks like he's in rhythm, and he's got complete control of this offense right now.
That was a gain of 13. Curtis Johnson banging forward, punching it inside the 25. James Walker, the free safety, coming up quickly to make the hit.
That was a good tackle by James Walker in the hole, but you have to wonder what's the free safety doing up that far to the line of scrimmage.
You don't want him making all the tackles. A reminder.
Yeah, Walker number 2, you'll see him flash on the left side of your screen here. He makes a good open field tackle right in that hole, prevents Johnson from getting any further. And they think this guy's going to follow in the steps of Jesse Campbell, Mike Reed, 2 good safeties here that were drafted in the pros, both by the Eagles, actually.
This is the 11th play of the drive as William Henderson, the fullback, gains a couple and would have had more if it were not for Carl Reeves, who dragged him down. At the conclusion of today's game, we're going to be announcing the genuine Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the Game from each team. And this is the 24th year that Chevrolet, through their scholarship program, has awarded $1,000 in the name of those players to each school.
Third down situation. Carolina's 3 for 3 so far today in converting third downs.
Third down and a long 3. They need to get inside the 18. Whips it out to Leon Johnson. And Leon down the sideline, touchdown.
After the block by Greg DeLong, Leon Johnson takes the pass into the end zone. A 21-yard touchdown pass from Stanicek to Leon Johnson.
Beautiful 21-yard reception by Leon Johnson. Last week he caught 6 balls for 83 yards. He's a good receiver, just a sophomore. ACC Freshman of the Year last year. Leon Johnson, you can see it's a screenplay. There's some linemen downfield and a great block by 14, Marcus Wall. As Leon Johnson has the speed to get into the end zone. And another block by the tight end, Greg DeLong.
And they had him downfield, and that made the difference as Trip Pignetti's on for the extra point. And it is good. 14-0. Carolina scoring again early here in the second quarter with 12:34 left in the second. We'll be back as we look at the play once again. A 21-yard swing pass. Carolina pushing State all over. 12:34 left to go in the second quarter. North Carolina, with a little help from Mr. 12, Johnson, Leon. There's already a Johnson & Johnson Corporation, as we all know. Maybe there'll be a second Johnson & Johnson.
Now, he was talking to his tight end, Greg DeLong, and thanking him for knocking 2 players out on that touchdown reception and run.
Another impressive drive by North Carolina. 12 plays and almost 6 minutes run off the clock.
Well, the last time State lost on the road, it was to Louisville. They turned the ball over 6 times. This time, they're just getting outplayed physically on the football field, as Carolina's really taking it to them today.
80 Alvis Whitted, 22 Kevin Mateer back, as Scott Caparelli will again kick off for North Carolina. A line driver dropped by Carlos King, but he picks it up. And King struggling out near the 30. Oscar Brown, number 2, made a good play and got a little help from Clay Eddy, 31. Tennessee has beaten South Carolina. And again, we'll keep you up to date. John Saunders in the studio with highlights. Notre Dame leading big over Navy in the 3rd. BC beating Army. East Carolina with a big lead in the 4th. Jermaine Stevens into the game at tailback, and Carlos King, number 39, at fullback for North Carolina State. Carlos King cutting it back, getting to about the 34, dragged down by Marcus Jones, 71. Our first opportunity to see Jermaine Stevens, a true freshman, number 20, of career South Carolina, who's now in at tailback.
Well, he's had the 2 longest runs of the year, and that was in their last game for State. 2 52-yarders against Wake Forest, 1 for a touchdown.
He's averaging 6.6 yards per carry this season. On the option, Stevens gets a block. Breaking tackles and might have gone all the way, but he couldn't regain his balance at the 41. Rick Terry, number 94, got just enough of him to knock him down. And that's the first down for State.
And this is a beautifully executed option play. 66, Steve Keim comes around the pitch at perfect timing. And this is what Stevens done. The cutback against the grain, picks up a blocker, and is able to take what should be a 10-yard game and burst it into a much larger gain.
It's a gain of 25. 1st and 10. NC State, not only their first down, but their first venture into North Carolina territory at the Tar Heel 41. Harvey under pressure. The ball tipped in the air and incomplete. James Hamilton, number 54, hit Harvey in the back just as he released the ball, but fortunately for the Wolfpack, it fell to the turf.
That's a good defensive call by Carl Torbush, the defensive coordinator, bringing the linebackers. Even though State had a big play, watch 54, he's right at the bottom of your screen. He comes in and completely unprotected as Harvey just barely gets the football off before he gets sacked.
Harvey has completed only 1 of 6 attempts for a total of 5 yards passing. And as you see, Carolina with a big lead of almost 100 yards in total offense. Jermaine Stevens, and a fine play at the line of scrimmage to bring him down, or he might have had a whole lot more. He gains 3 or 4. Stopped by number 58, Mike Morton. Got him around the ankles.
Mike Morton's a co-captain on this football team. He's the recipient of the Moorhead Scholarship. It's the highest academic a graduate can receive here at North Carolina. And incidentally, John Swofford, the athletic director here, also is a recipient of that award. Big difference in total yards, although NC State slipping back into the game finally with their first down.
3rd and 7. Harvey over the middle, complete to Carlos King, but short of the first down yardage at about the 33. Mike Morton again making the tackle.
Well, Steve Vinetek's longest field goal is 48 yards this year. They're going to trot him out on the ground and see if he can hit something that's going to be close to 50, Steve.
Yeah, Vinetek has made 8 of 9 field goal attempts, but this would be the longest. As they set it up right on the 40. The wind is really not a factor. There's hardly any wind at all, and this would be 2 yards beyond his career high so far. It's good. He made it with a few yards to spare. A 50-yard field goal gets North Carolina State on the board with 9:54 left to go in the second quarter. It's 14-7. Carolina leading State 14-3. Senior Steve Vinetek, who has done such a great job of kicking for NC State with his 50-yarder. We'll look at it again.
Well, he kind of punches the football
That means he doesn't hook the ball as much, but he certainly gets some distance on it. And he's hit 21 of his last 23 field goals, and he had plenty of room to spare on that 50-yarder. So when you got a guy who kicks soccer style but doesn't follow through, that means he's not going to hook the ball as much. Stanicek is a very accurate field goal kicker.
He will now kick off. Marcus Wall, number 14, the deepest in the middle for North Carolina. And Marcus will take it at about the 2. Marcus Wall out to the 34 before he's dragged down by Dre Major, number 9. Another good return by the Tar Heels, a 33-yard run back by Marcus. And Carolina now with a 14-3-yard return, have it at their own 34.
Marcus is a top kickoff returner. He averages 31 yards returning, and he's the kind of guy who just doesn't like to go down. I mean, he takes that first hit, but he's strong for a small guy.
Leon Johnson hit in the backfield, and he will be dropped. Damian Covington, who came back into the game after being out for a few plays during Carolina's last scoring drive, makes the hit in the backfield.
Covington is second in career tackles at North Carolina State. Definitely a pro prospect, and he's a guy that finds a way to get to the football. He'll use speed if he has to. He'll use his power if he has to, but he's a real sure tackler and a leader on this defense.
And at 240 pounds at linebacker, he can bring some oomph with him as well. Second down, about 12 to go. Leon Johnson cannot get away from Reeves. Carl Reeves running with Johnson all the way, and it's another loss. Let's go down again and get a report from Gary Reason.
Just a few minutes ago, as State's defense came off the field, defense coordinator Ken Pettis was very upset with these guys. He told them that you have to quit stopping on the play. He said there were guys 20 yards downfield just watching the play happen. They're not going to play well, but right now they've picked it up a notch, and they're hopeful to stop the Carolina offense. Steve?
Thanks, Gary. They have lost. Carolina has lost 9 yards in the last 2 plays, so State much more aggressive. It's 3rd and 19. Stanicek stepping up, throws it underneath to the tight end, Freddie Jones. And Freddie Jones has a first down before Damian Covington brings him down. No, he'll be short. No, he'll be short.
It's only the 3rd catch of the year for Freddie Jones. Stanicek did a good job of stepping up in the pocket to avoid getting sacked, but he had nobody open deep and had to lay it off to his backup tight end. Watch the pressure from the outside right there. If Stanicek doesn't step up, he's in big trouble. Freddie Jones, a good-looking tight end, doesn't get to the first down.
Mike Thomas to kick, and Eddie Goins is back. He will take it at the 19. He didn't call for the fair catch. Gambling that he might be able to get away. A 41-yard punt by Mike Thomas. And again, Jonathan Linton, number 27, who's played very well on special teams for North Carolina, down there to make the hit. 7:42 to go in the first half. Carolina leading. Beautiful Chapel Hill on a glorious day, and the Carolina band and fans are enjoying it because they lead 14-3 here in the second. Harvey on first down for NC State, flipping it to Carlos King, who cannot get away from Eddie Mason, number 37. A short gain on the play of about 2 or 3.
That's interesting play design by the Wolfpack, but if it were not for the speed of Eddie Mason and his ability to sniff that play out, they had something going. But Mason, very fast football player, covered it, made a good tackle.
Mason is a senior from Siler City. Calling the play and moving the backs around, making sure the receiver. Now there's just too much confusion, and he's going to call timeout. That's the first timeout State has used, the first timeout either team has used. So State will have 2 remaining in the first half, and Carolina has all 3 left. 6:56 to go in the second quarter. We're back in just a minute. UNC has the lead, but NC State has the ball. It is 2nd down and 8. from the shotgun. Inside handoff to Stevens, nowhere to run. Big Rick Terry at 290 pounds brings him down. Let's get a report on Ohio State, Penn State. John Saunders.
Steve, once again, the report is on Kenan Carter, this time from 1 yard out. His second touchdown run of the game goes around the left side. Penn State leading now 14-0. Steve.
Thank you, John. A loss on the play. Back inside the 15.
Great penetration. They try to run a little draw out of the shotgun, but Rick Terry slips between the center guard gap and makes the tackle deep in the backfield.
3rd down and 12. The shovel pass batted down. And what a play by Marcus Jones, who was coming hard, but it's an incomplete pass. It'll be 4th down, and North Carolina State, although they have picked up a 1st down, has still not converted a 3rd down in this ball game. They are now 0 for 5 on 3rd down conversion.
Well, Virginia had a lot of success running this football play, and you know that Carolina worked on it this week. And had Marcus Jones been able to catch that ball, it would have been an interception. But since the ball is thrown forward, it's just an incomplete pass. But he's happy nonetheless.
That's right, and should be. Chad Robson on the punt again. Octavius Barnes and Leon Johnson are back as usual for Carolina, and under some pressure. Robson just does get it away. Leon Johnson looking for help. Goes down at about the Carolina 48. A 44-yard punt, but a penalty flag is down at the spot of the tackle. Michael Dover, our referee.
There's a flag down.
And so far, it's been a relatively miscue-free game. Illegal block in the back, as we will often see. Illegal use of hands or illegal block.
Back both ways, 10-yard penalty, into the kick, spot of foul, about the same. 1st down.
And either penalty becoming extremely prevalent on kick plays.
Leon Johnson dances upfield. He's a great punt returner. And right there, right in front of Johnson is where you see the hit in the back. Pretty obvious for an official to see, and that's a call that you just see. Must like be 20% of the time.
I think it's more than that. I think it's half of the time. Malcolm Marshall and Curtis Johnson in the backfield behind Stanicek. 1st down. Curtis across the 40 to about the 41 for a gain of 3. Damian Covington again on the stop for NC State.
I think until this NC State offense gets untracked in this football game, what Gary Reason's talked about, Ken Pettis talking to his defensive players, he's got to get them to keep State in this football game and keep this lead at 11 points. And they certainly played well on their last series of downs, dropping Carolina for a loss a couple of times. But until the offense gets going, it's up to the defense for the Wolfpack.
And every series puts more and more pressure on the defense. Stanicek running out of time, completes it to Darren Ashford, who's blasted out of bounds by Ricky Bell. And Ashford has more than enough for a 1st down.
Well, that's not the first time Ashford's caught a football from Stanicek in college or in high school. They were high school teammates together out of Rich Each High School outside of Chicago. And Ashford is a guy who has surprised the coaching staff here. Has great speed, did not have great hands, but he's working on his hands, and he's very comfortable catching the football now.
A sophomore, he's out of the game now on 1st and 10 at the State 49. Curtis Johnson spinning for a couple down to the 47 in the grasp of Eric Counts, and number 73 Mike Harrison underneath.
Counts is a guy who's a very strong player. His whole Wolfpack defensive unit got stronger, put on weight, and dropped body weight. It's Mike Harrison, and there's Counts. All of them made a commitment after losing to Michigan last year in a bowl game that they needed to get quicker and stronger. So imagine that, gaining weight and losing fat at the same time.
Everybody'd like to do that. On the reverse, Marcus Wall gets a block. Flag is down, however. Marcus won't go down, as John mentioned. Still running inside the 5. Dragged down by Ed Gallen at about the 1, but a flag was thrown back at the 45 of Carolina.
Yeah, it's going to be against Raj Ferguson, the right tackle, who was looping around. And he had to make a cutback block. And the defender, watch 76. He comes around now. He's disguising himself. And you'll see, I don't know if you'll see, right there, there's the clip on John Rissler, 59. And that's what the official saw. Had Rissler turned his body a little bit more, it would have been in front of him. The block would have been in front of him, and it would have been a legal block. They call that a clip.
Here's the run. Father foul, 15 yards. Second down.
Well, that is a huge turnaround because it was a 46-yard gain, and now not only is it wiped out, but a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah, it's a better look at the clip, too, and you can see what the official saw on the near side. Very close to being legal. Had Rissler maybe taken another step or two, he would have been hitting the front of his body. But when you hit him in the back like that, that's a clip.
Mac Brown working the official. Can't believe it, but it really did show that Ferguson did not have his head in front of Rissler. It winds up being a 19-yard penalty marked off from the spot of the foul. So it's back at the Carolina 29. On the delay, Curtis Johnson. Nowhere to run as Covington is already in the backfield. State the last couple of series bringing a lot more pressure, more aggressive on defense.
And I think that's why Brown called the reverse. I think he saw them pressuring the gaps, over pursuing. There's Pettis. I wonder what that signal means. I bet it's something ferocious, whatever it is. But again, for 2 drives in a row now, this time by a penalty, NC State pushes Carolina back. Negative yardage.
Now it's 3rd and 33. Curtis Johnson has a blocker. But a good play by number 16, Juan Everett, to come over and get a piece of Curtis Johnson and prevent him from getting the first down. Carolina will have to punt it away again.
Well, with 3rd and so many yards to go, Stanicek realizes he can't get the football downfield without risking an interception. Certainly the Wolfpack isn't allowed him to throw deep, but this is a safe throw. It picks up positive yardage, and it gets Carolina punting from decent position.
Mike Thomas hits it from about his 30, and Eddie Goins will be driven back inside the 10. A beautiful punt. Goins from the 7. The ball comes loose. Carolina has it. Jonathan Linton with another hit on special teams. A 54-yard punt, but more importantly, Carolina gets the ball back.
Well, Carolina gets the field position they would have had from that reverse anyway. Now, I think this 35 comes in. That's 35, Maurice McGregor, who comes in, puts his helmet right on the football. Carolina gets to the football first, so a key turnover by the Wolfpack. Boy, when that helmet hits right on the football, watch right here. McGregor comes in and he almost tears off Goins' hand in the process.
And it was Linton who recovered the ball for Carolina. Just outside the 7, it is 1st and goal. Carolina already leading 14-3. Now movement along the line of scrimmage, and flags and whistles stop play. Gurness Gathers, perhaps not the only one who moved too early.
I think Gathers and Thomas, both left side offensive linemen, moved. Yep. So something's wrong with their side of the ear holes and the helmets in the huddle.
Prior to snap, 5-yard penalty, first down.
It's always good when you jump off like that and have somebody else go with you. That means a coach can only yell at you half as much in the meeting the next day.
You don't want to be alone. Stanicek has completed 7 of 8 passes for 79 yards and a touchdown. The ball now back at the 12. 1st and goal. Curtis Johnson. John Rissler coming in from the side quickly to keep it to a very short gain of about 1 yard.
Yeah, the ball came out late, but he was on the ground. So it's certainly no penalty. Rissler was unblocked. He came off the open side of the formation. Nobody blocked him. and he's able to make that tackle.
And remember, Rissler went out with a sprained knee earlier.
Yeah, there he is. Nobody blocking him, coming off the outside of the formation. Right there, he's down, and that ball squirts right out of there, and certainly no fumble.
2nd and goal from the 11. Play action, swing pass to Leon Johnson. Same play they scored on earlier, and Johnson takes it in again.
11-yard touchdown from
This time, instead of a 21-yarder, it's an 11-yarder, and Leon Johnson has all 3 North Carolina touchdowns. It's a 20-3 lead with the extra point to come.
Was the swing pass with the offensive lineman released downfield. The whole right side of the offensive line gets some blocks downfield. You can see 61 Hobgood releasing. Now look at this. I mean, this is like having battleships in the Persian Gulf. Everybody's sealed off for the Wolfpack defense as that whole right side of the offensive line releases downfield. Hobgood gets a good block. Ferguson gets a good block, and you'll see him on the right side there. There's nobody nearby. Look at the linemen are into the end zone.
So Tripp Pignetti adds yet another extra point, as he has missed only 1 all year, and it is 21-3 Carolina with just 1:31 remaining in the half. We'll be back. Or other regional action in the Big Ten and Pac-10. Be sure to check your local listings for the game in your area, as well as what may be available through your cable operator pay-per-view. Coming up at halftime, John Saunders in the studio, scores, highlights, all of the latest, and an interview with Alabama head coach Gene Stallings. That's the Prudential halftime report moments away here on ABC. Scott Caparelli getting ready to kick it off. He has been very busy, as has North Carolina State's punter Chad Robson. North Carolina State has managed only 1 first down. Carolina has 10, and they lead it now 21-3. Kevin Mateer 22 and Alvis Whitted 80 have dropped back deep for State. Kevin Mateer has an opening, and Capoletti, the kicker, knocks him toward the sidelines. Finished off by Terry Billups, number 25.
Well, when you're a kicker, you're the safety on the kickoff team. Capoletti stays in position, keeps Mateer in front of him, and is able to use the sideline, put a hit on him. Didn't exactly hurt him with that lick.
Yeah, but look at that. Look at that paint on the helmet. How many kickers get paint on the helmet?
He's going to be so proud of that. He won't want anybody to clean that thing off.
East Carolina has defeated Cincinnati. That's a final. State with just a minute and a half going from the shotgun. Harvey completing it to Fitzgerald, who is blasted by Omar Brown. Omar, a redshirt freshman out of York, Pennsylvania, with a big hit.
I'm surprised they called that a completion. Yeah. Watch how Omar Brown closes on the football. Let's see if Fitzgerald has it put away long enough. Oh, yeah. It's a reception. It's close. But the referee, as you can see, walking right in along the sideline, and he had the best view.
I think he had possession. It brings it out to the 48. Second down and 6. 1:14 left in the half. Harvey inside handoff. Jermaine Stevens dragging a tackler as he gets it into Carolina territory down to about the 46. Kerry Mock, number 57, who's had a dislocated elbow, and Mike Morton, 58, on the stop.
Hard to believe Mock can play with a dislocated elbow. He didn't miss any time at all. It shows how tough he is.
Third down, about a yard to go. Harvey hit as he throws it, and it is an incomplete pass. Again, Marcus Jones with the pressure, and it's 6-6. He can disrupt things back there without even having to jump, and he can jump.
Yeah, Jones comes around, beats Chris Hennerode, and gets to the arm of Harvey just before he throws the football. This is a guy who reads 10 comic books a week, has a collection of over 2,000 comic books at home. I bet he reads a lot of Superman stuff because that's who he thinks he is, and he plays like one too.
Superhero. Fourth down, they're going for it. Fitzgerald diving for what appears to be enough for the first down. And North Carolina State now is 6 of 10 on 4th down conversions this season. Going without the huddle with the clock stopped for the first down. It'll restart and does. 36 seconds left in the half. Harvey looking. Now he's going to have to swing it out to Rod Brown. And Brown will go nowhere as Mike Morton is with him all the way.
Quick timeout called by State, too. Harvey took a lot of time looking on his downfield receiver. By the time he came off, his back was covered by the linebacker. So we have a timeout on the field charged against North Carolina State.
That is their second. They have one more remaining. North Carolina has not used any of their timeouts in the first half. 23 seconds remaining in the half.
Well, it's good protection up front for Harvey, but look how he's locked in downfield. And now the defenders are moving toward his layoff guy. And that's Rod Brown. And, you know, when you're a receiver and you know that you're hanging there, and somebody waiting there right next to you, it's not a real good feeling. Look at all the company he had.
He drew a crowd big time after that play took so long to develop. There's a timeout situation.
Keep in mind, State burned one earlier when they were, one timeout that is, when they were confused about their offensive set early in the second quarter.
And John, to this point in the game, we're almost through the first half. Eddie Goins of NC State has not yet caught a pass. There's only been one ball thrown to him.
I talked to Goins yesterday when they had the walkthrough on the football field here. You know, he told me they wanted to throw the football underneath. Actually caught one pass for 5 yards.
Yeah, he did catch that short.
And that's what he told me. They're going to throw the ball underneath early in the game and then try and go up top later on. Both of these teams play very similar defensive styles. 2 deep zones with 5 men underneath. It's very soft coverage.
Second down, but 23 seconds to go. Harvey with a little play action out of the shotgun. Still can't find anybody open. Chased out of bounds by Fuzzy Lee on the far side now with 16 seconds left in the half.
You know, for a defensive secondary that was burned so badly by Tyrone Davis in Virginia last week, this team has played great pass defense. The secondary to be congratulated. Fuzzy Lee, Sean Boyd, they're all playing well. And then Harvey, to his credit, he's not trying to stick the football in there unwisely. There's people covered downfield, and he's just got to either lay the football off or run with it.
Carolina with their nickel package, and it's working well. Harvey on 2 successive plays can find no one downfield. On third down, batted in the air by Eddie Mason, intercepted, picked off by Omar Brown.
Well, that's 2 big plays by Omar Brown on his drive. He had the big hit earlier on this series. And when that ball got batted, he showed his athletic ability as he burst toward the football and just out-jumped everybody else to get the football. See who gets a hand on it. Right up front. That's a knockdown by Eddie Mason. Now look how high Brown goes up in the air to out-jump Adrian Hill. Eddie Mason comes through 37. Skies knocked the thing away. Now, there's a lot of people converting on this football, but Omar Brown is the quickest, the fastest, and the highest. So he gets the football.
He wanted it. Just 9 seconds left in the half. 3 wide receivers in the game. Stanicek with a straight drop, firing incomplete. He threw it behind Marcus Wall, who was covered by Damian Covington. There's Omar.
Well, I think Mac Brown was just going for field position. If Wall was able to catch that football, it'd be around the 30-yard line, and it would give Pinetti a shot at the 47-yarder. So he could have picked up some points there. He has some timeouts to burn right now, but now with 4 seconds left, it would appear to me the only thing they can do is take a shot in the end zone with some sort of Hail Mary pass.
And again, they have the 3 wideouts in, barring a penalty. This will be the final play of the first half. Stanicek looking in trouble. He'll go down. As time runs out, Carl Reeves brings him down. But Mac Brown and Carolina have owned the second quarter in their games this year, outscoring opponents 62-20. Well, they scored 14 points in the second quarter to none for State and lead it 21-3 at halftime. Thank you, Jerry. Boy, I'll tell you, it's serious, and very thankful that no one was injured when people do crazy things like that. Steve Zabriskie, John Spagnola, and Gary Reasons welcoming you back to Chapel Hill, where North Carolina has jumped out to a 21-3 lead as we get ready for the second half kickoff. Leon Johnson with all 3 touchdowns. Here's the first.
And he gets a good block from his fullback, William Henderson, 33, and his offensive line. Look at a surge of that offensive line as they power in for the touchdown.
Then he showed he can also take a pass and take it in.
Well, these next 2 touchdowns are very similar. Offensive lineman releasing downfield. The tight end, DeLong, gets a real good block. And Leon Johnson with a 21-yard reception for a touchdown.
This set up Carolina's 3rd TD when Eddie Goins was hit and coughed up the ball. Maurice McGregor made the hit that knocked it out.
And Jonathan Linton on the recovery, and that set up good field position for this, the 3rd touchdown by the Tar Heels. Very similar pass to the 2nd touchdown. Blockers downfield in front of Leon Johnson, and he scampers in for an 11-yard touchdown reception. But that turnover really hurt NC State.
There's Leon stretching it out and getting ready. He and Curtis, of course, the 2 tailbacks for Carolina. A 50-yard field goal for NC State by Steve Viditek, the only scoring for the Wolfpack. Let's get a report before the kickoff from Gary Reasons. Gary.
Steve, I'm on the sideline with North Carolina Athletic Director John Swafford, and at halftime they received a beautiful trophy. The Athletic Director's Trophy for the #1 college athletic program in the country. John, tell me what it means to you to receive this trophy and what it talks about for your program.
Gary, it's really special for our program because it represents balance, I think, and it's gender neutral. And we have a large, well-balanced program, and I think anytime you're in competition with the Michigans and Stanfords and UCLAs of the world and you come out on top, it says a lot about your program, and it's a great tribute to our coaches and our athletes.
Well, they're certainly doing a good job for you today. How do you think about the ball game?
Well, I hope the second half is just like the first, Gary.
Thank you, John. Steve?
Thank you, Gary. Congratulations to John and to the athletic department. They won the all-sports national championship, the Athletic Directors Cup, rather. Their women's basketball team, of course, was outstanding. They have developed a tremendous all-around program. Viditek to kick it off as Carolina will get the ball to start the second half. Marcus Wall waiting and taking it from about the 6. Picking his way and out to about the 28 before he's dragged down by Damon Whitechie, number 32.
Well, the statistics are reflective of the score of this football game. The Tar Heels lead 21-3, and they've outgained NC State 180 yards to 60. Interestingly enough, rushing yards, Carolina had 92 at the end of the first quarter, so the Wolfpack defense actually threw them for 2-yard losses in this second quarter. The 2 turnovers, one led to a touchdown by NC State, and the other one occurred right before the half, and no points came out of it, but a thorough domination so far by North Carolina.
Stanicek was 8 of 10 passing in the first half. Leon Johnson banging across the 30 to about the 32 in the grasp of 47 Mike Moore, senior linebacker out of Raleigh.
Mike Moore is an ACC honor roll member, majoring in mechanical engineering. A lot of engineering students at North Carolina State. There used to be North Carolina A&M, which meant agriculture and mechanical arts.
That's right.
And here's the drives, 2 touchdown drives, long touchdown drives, and then, of course, the turnover on the second last drive.
Stanicek optioning to Johnson on second down, and Leon got away. Puts down his head and drives to the 45 of NC State. Ed Gallen, number 8, finally bringing him down. But Leon having some kind of day. Picks up right where he left off, a gain of 22.
Yeah, Leon is able to dance out into the open off the option, but watch the double block he gets from 33. His fullback right there, William Henderson, gets one, and now he picks up another State defender as Johnson continues to impress here in this football game.
Coming into this game, the NC State defense had only given up a 19-yard run as the longest against their defense, and Carolina has changed that as Leon has another hole. Banging it inside the 35. James Walker, the free safety, and Ricky Bell, number 42, making the tackle in the secondary.
Well, even though this offensive line is banged up for Carolina, they're making some terrific holes up front. Right over guard and center. You can see 74 making a good block up front. That was Jerness Geathers, the left guard. And Carolina starts out in the second half much the way they executed in their second drive today, which went for a touchdown.
Johnson now has carried 11 times for 79 yards. That was a gain of 12. Here goes the fullback, William Henderson, inside the 20. They'll mark it at the 19, and Walker, the free safety, again had to make the stop.
Henderson was a blocker a couple plays ago. Now he's a ball carrier. Right up the middle again. Good blocking up front as you see 76 flash. That's Ferguson, the right tackle, who flashed down and got a block. And, I mean, there's just a lot of holes outside, inside, all over the place right now for the Wolfpack in this drive after they seem to tighten things up for the latter part of the first half.
That was a gain of 15. First down. Leon Johnson smack into number 47, Mike Moore. Moore waiting in the hole that time. Again, let's get a report from Gary Reasons.
Steve, I talked to defensive coordinator Ken Pettis from North Carolina State, and he told me that they were having trouble on first down. Hey, as a defensive coordinator, when you've got to call defenses when it's 2nd and 3, 2nd and 2, it's a hard day to call. It's a hard thing to do. So they've got to play better on first down, stop this Carolina attack. Steve?
Thanks, Gary. Now it is 2nd down. A loss on that play and about 13 yards to go. Malcolm Marshall and Curtis Johnson now in the backfield for Carolina. Stanicek flips it out to Curtis. Curtis gets a block and gets inside the 20 before he's pushed out of bounds near the 16. Ricky Bell 42 and William Strong 21 over there to make the play.
Well, the Wolfpack defended this play a lot better than they have earlier in the game, and it's a simple play. Mac Brown showed me that just, you know, in college football, the lineman can release downfield. You see big 74 Jerneth Getters get downfield, but everybody's just running downfield and engaging blockers. Wide receivers, Octavius Barnes, Getters is downfield, and it's a timing thing, and that's worked very well in the first half. But Wolfpack at least defensively on that particular play.
Malcolm Marshall straight ahead, still going, and very close to a first down inside the 10. Damian Covington, 36, made the tackle for NC State.
Coming right at you. You're an inside linebacker, Damian Covington right now. You play off the box blocker and make the tackle, but you can see the power of Marshall as he runs over Covington on his way to gaining a few more yards after the hit.
Yeah, James Walker had to come up again and help him out. Greg DeLong, a tight end, coming out of the game as time was called. Now the referee, Michael Dover, starts it. I think we had an equipment problem on the part of DeLong. He didn't want to come out.
I think it might be the blood rule, too.
Well, that could be a good point.
They're taping him up, yeah. Here's the drive, 7 plays, 63 yards.
On first down, Curtis Johnson looking to get outside. He will not. Coming up quickly, Dewan Everett, number 16, with help from Ricky Bell, 42.
John Rissler did a good job. You know, he got banged up earlier, had that ankle problem earlier in this football game. Watch how he fends off the blocker. You'll see 59 on the left side, stringing this out. There he is, and then he finally ducks back to make the tackle. But he was the guy that held up that play and disallowed Carolina from getting around outside and gaining more yards.
Actually, it was a loss of 2 just outside the 10. We have 11 minutes and 15 seconds to go in the third quarter. Carolina leading 21-3. Second down. Off to Curtis Johnson, but too far out in front. Ricky Bell was right there, and it'll be incomplete.
Yeah, that was almost a lateral. But again, you know, this is the play that they've scored 2 touchdowns on today, North Carolina. Just engaging blockers downfield and getting the ball out to the back on the flat. And you know what? That is a lateral.
That is a lateral.
Yeah, he threw that.
Ricky Bell went ahead and earholed Johnson, but
yeah, they could have gotten on that ball. He threw that from the 13, and Johnson was at the 14 or 15, so that ball was behind him.
It is now 3rd and goal from just outside the 10. Stanicek can't go anywhere. Reeves is right there. Carl Reeves in Stanisek's face again. Another loss.
Well, Reeves is the guy they want to option off of, but as Stanicek reverses out Reeves able to step over the block and make the play, and they can't even get into the option phase of what they wanted to do on that play. Too much penetration. This guy is a couple sacks away from the all-time career sack mark here at NC State.
So on 4th and long, Trip Pignetti will come in to attempt a 35-yard field goal. And he bangs it through. It is good. Carolina opens the third quarter with more scoring as they extend their lead to 24-3. 10:22 left to go in the third. Well, that'll be fun on Monday night, but the Carolina fans are having a little fun here on Saturday afternoon in their big rivalry. Now with a 21-point lead. There's Trip Pignetti, who kicked the field goal, a senior out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Done an outstanding job with placements for Carolina.
But he's hitting them at 80% this year.
Scott Caparelli does the kicking off. Kevin Mateer and Alvis Whitted are back again for NC State. State will have their first opportunity on offense. Carlos King twirling out to about the 31 in the grasp of Bo Perry, number 34. Again, let's get a report from the sidelines and Gary Reason.
Steve, I talked to head coach Mike O'Kane for Carolina State, and he told me that on offense they're having a little bit of trouble with what Carolina defense is doing. On defense, they normally play a 4-3. Today they said they got a little bit of 50 look, which puts a nose guard right over the center, as you see there. Gives them a little bit of a different look. They have to make adjustments for it. Hopefully they can do better here in the second half.
Thanks, Gary. They're going to have to get it going on offense. The option. And Fitzgerald to about the 35 for a gain of 4 on the quick pitch. Mike Morton and Fuzzy Lee make the stop for Carolina. Carolina's offense on the sideline.
Well, keep in mind, North Carolina State has 64 yards in this football game so far, so that blocking adjustment is one thing, but this is a pretty experienced offensive line. I'm surprised that a simple change in the front would hurt them that much.
Tremaine Stevens takes the option pitch the other side and has the first down out to about the 46. Again, 58, Mike Morton on the stop for the Tar Heels. Field position's been a big part of this game, and the kicking game in a game such as this, particularly with the rivalry, sometimes can turn a close game, and it has contributed to the field position for State.
Their first 3 drives, they were 3 plays and out, and they finally made a first down, but hasn't been a lot of production here. Terry Harvey and his offensive cohort.
Passing, Harvey connected on only 5 of 13 in the first half, and that was only for 10 yards passing. Timeout called right at the time of the snap. And the PA announcer said timeout North Carolina State.
Remember, they had to use a timeout that hurt them, I think, in their 2-minute drive somewhat, so they used one here in the second half.
CFA College Football on ABC Sports, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Also proud sponsor of the season opening Mercedes Championships on ABC. Zima, a unique alcohol beverage. What a beautiful campus at Chapel Hill, University of North Carolina. And a magnificent setting at Kenan Stadium, a stadium you can't even see until you get to it for all the trees that surround it.
It's really nestled in there, isn't it? Just a beautiful setting. Be able to see tall trees like this arching right over the stands in the football field.
9:15 to go in the third. State, Tremaine Stevens taking the pitch. Grabbed by number 80, Oscar Sturgis, the right defensive end, as he goes around the corner.
Yeah, I think they have to get the football into Stevens' hands if they're going to get back in this football game. I mean, he's just a freshman. He played real well a couple of weeks ago. He made a few mistakes. He's going to make some mental mistakes because he's just a freshman, but he's a guy who can help ignite this offense. If he can get some things going here in this drive, the play action should open up to Eddie Goins and others. You know, this team's got to get going offensively.
Stevens again. inside the 45 and appears to have enough for the first down. Marcus Jones, 71, making the tackle on Tremaine. 5'11", 185, and he can motor. It is a first down, North Carolina State.
And I think you could sense that sense of urgency in the offense as they just ran 2 plays after that timeout, and they're able to convert a first down. And the offensive line hasn't had an opportunity, it seems, to get off on the football today, to get going.
Brian Fitzgerald back in at tailback. Harvey looking to throw. Firing it deep. Almost intercepted. Almost picked off by Eric Thomas, the free safety, but he couldn't hold on.
Yeah, Eric Thomas read the play, followed Eddie Goins. There's a crossing pattern. Adrian Hill comes from the right side. You see number 1, he gets banged up. Now watch Eric Thomas. He's just floating into his zone. That ball's got to be thrown over his head to Eddie Goins, and it fluttered as it left Harvey's arm. And that could be why Thomas dropped the football, because it fluttered so much. But I think he wanted to go over the top of Thomas with that pass, and the ball slipped out of his hands.
Option on 2nd and 10. The pitch behind Fitzgerald, but I believe he got it back. No! Carolina has the football. Oscar Sturgis took it away from him. That's the 3rd turnover for NC State.
Sturgis on the recovery, but Harvey was under pressure as he pitched the football. He's getting a talking to right now. You can see where Fitzgerald had very little opportunity to get back in, actually had his hands on it, and Sturgis pulled it away from him.
Marcus Jones had the pressure on Harvey that caused him to pitch the ball behind Fitzgerald.
As he was crawling back, his left arm wasn't in position. His right arm was able to get on it, but Sturgis was able to pull it away from Fitzgerald.
Leon Johnson picking his way across midfield and into state territory down to about the 46. Carl Reeves, 85, and number 8, Ed Gallen, make the tackle.
So 3 turnovers now by NC State. When they lost in Louisville earlier this year, they turned it over 7 times. They're not the kind of football team that can overcome their own mistakes. They have a steady offense, a balanced offense, but they have to be able, in the football game, to be effective, to run and throw. And now they're going to be behind even more.
Leon Johnson again, big hole. Spinning in the secondary and still going. Down to the 20. Mike Moore, 47, finally hauled him down, but Leon rips off 26 yards and has now gone over 100 yards on the day.
Deep in the I formation, the offensive line seal everything off, and that actually was the play before this. Leon Johnson did a very similar play, took it up the middle again, got excellent blocking up front. As Mac Brown's complaining about his offensive line. I see no problems here today.
Not at all.
Inexperience or their youth. And the scary thing is they're only going to get better and better.
The Hogs are working. William Henderson, the fullback. And Henderson running hard, banging it inside the 15. Knocked down by Ed Gallen and Mike Moore. Let's look at the Johnson 26-yarder.
One thing about Johnson, he doesn't have great breakaway speed, but he's got terrific balance. When a running back can go through the hole with his hips square like that, steps out of tackles, just keeps right on going. That's what I think is so impressive about him. It's very difficult to bring him down with one tackler. He's got another big day rushing, 108 yards and 41 yards receiving.
And he has the ball again, cutting it back, picking his way inside the 10 to about the 9. John Rissler, 59, and Ricky Bell, 42 on the tackle. This is the Leon Johnson show today with 3 touchdowns, over 100 yards rushing, and as you mentioned, the receiving yardage on top of it.
He's an impressive athlete. He was drafted by the San Francisco Giants in baseball out of high school.
And Carolina again relentlessly moving the ball downfield. They've had 11 play drives, 12 play drives. They have just controlled the clock. First and goal inside the 10. Leon Johnson again breaks 1 tackle, and then Mike Moore gets him as he's down near the 5. They'll mark it at about the 6.5, where it'll be 2nd and goal.
Yeah, this defense for State's been on the field a long time today. You can see Eric Counts, 99, squatting right over the ball there. I mean, he's had to run and chase and do all sorts of things, and he's been on the football field a long time. I think Carolina's edge in time of possession is about 3-1.
Also, tremendous difference in yardage. State's only gained 81 yards total. Leon Johnson again, and he'll get down to the 5, and that is all before a bunch of white shirts are there. Mike Harrison, number 73, at 6'5" and 290, leading the charge.
Good defense, good. I mean, the last 2 plays, you see Covington again, 36 coming in time. He gets a good hit. James Walker, who's the free safety, number 2, has to come in and make the hit. Again, this is a tired defense, been on the field a long time. The turnovers have hurt them today. If they can somehow keep Carolina out of the end zone, it would be at least a moral victory of some sort.
They can't allow another touchdown here. It's 3rd and goal from the 5. Stanicek bobbling the pitch and pitches it now back to Marcus Wall, who will score.
Out of the end zone. A good call by Matt Brown. The reverse to Marcus Wall. And I don't think the bobble part of this play was designed. Stanicek has a little trouble getting the handle of the football. It pops out, but things are going well. You're able to complete a play like this, and from this point on, there's nobody in the way of Marcus Wall as he just waltzes into the end zone for a touchdown.
Trip Pinetti for another extra point attempt. It is good. We have 4 minutes and 24 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. It has been all blue today. Carolina 31, State 3. Our Heels have loved it at home. They won the last 4 here against NC State, and they're up big today.
Actually, it's the opposite. They've lost the last 4 games here at NC State, going back to 1984, but it looks a lot different here today.
A deep, deep kickoff, but Alvis Whitted will not run out of the end zone. Caparelli sharing the adrenaline and booting that one long. And Florida State, as I'm sure you know by now, big all over Duke, previously unbeaten. Clemson beat Wake Forest. Maryland beat Tulane. Virginia and Georgia Tech idle. So this is the remaining affair in the ACC today.
Total dominance in time of possession. Carolina's had the football 28.5 minutes to just 12 minutes for the Wolfpack.
Harvey to throw on 1st down, looking for Fitzgerald, who's out across the 25 before he is knocked down by Kerry Mock, number 57.
Well, there's just over 4 minutes left here in the 3rd quarter. You know, pretty soon the Wolfpack's got to think about a hurry-up offense. I mean, never too early to think along those lines. That's Mike O'Kane, the head coach, and I'm sure he just didn't expect this kind of performance today from his team or from the Tar Heels.
Harvey trying to run it, now cut back. To the 30 and has enough for the 1st down as he's at the 31 before Fuzzy Lee, number 47, brings him down. You know, NC State, John, still has not been able to get Eddie Goins into the offense.
No, they haven't. They went to him as almost intercept. Watch Oscar Sturgis, number 80, big, tall defensive end, probably a pro prospect. Just can't quite get Harvey. As Harvey, I think, had he known Sturgis was there waiting for him, may have just continued to the left on that play, but he alertly gets the 1st down.
Eddie Goins flanked out. What the give is to Rob Brown, the fullback, who gains about a yard is all. Out to the 32. Little head knocking going on after the whistle as Riddick Parker, number 97, made the tackle. And we'll run down the top 10 for you on our ABC Sports Board of scores, with Penn State leading big in the 3rd, and Nebraska, of course, in the first part of our doubleheader, winning handily. Auburn rolling on. Miami leading. Florida tonight. Florida State winning big. Texas A&M upset, possibly. SMU leading in that game. 2nd down, about 8. Harvey. Incomplete. It was intended for the tight end Dallas Dickerson. Mike Morton had the coverage, but Dickerson could not hold on.
Leon Johnson, 158 yards of total offense today, and NC State has yet to go over the 100-yard mark with 2 minutes and 28 seconds left in the third quarter. And that was a drop by Dallas Dickerson. Would have been able to pick up some yards and get them Wolfpack into a third and short situation, but now they have third down and 8 yards to go.
And Harvey's only been able to complete 6 of 16 passes. Throwing back, Fitzgerald has a couple of blockers, has a first down inside Carolina territory, and he's down with a penalty flag at the 48. Fuzzy Lee and Jimmy Hitchcock, and we may have a face mask after a gain of 20.
That's a great call by Ted Kane, getting the defense to think everything was going to happen with the rollout. And you can hear or you can't hear it, but you can lip read the 5-yard incidental face mask is tacked onto the play.
5 yards, incidental face mask, penalized from the end of the run, first down.
But Harvey rolls right, sucks the defense out to the right side, is able to throw it back to Fitzgerald, who was questionable today with a shoulder injury. Gets some good blocks downfield. See right there where that right hand gets on his face mask.
Jermaine Stevens into the game at tailback on first down from the Carolina 43. He gains perhaps a yard. Greg Black, number 56, who hasn't been in on many plays so far, made the stop for Carolina. Miami leading Virginia Tech. We continue to run down the top teams in the country. Florida tonight, as we said, the big outdoor cocktail party. There's SMU with a 1-point lead over A&M in the fourth. Harvey to throw, and he completes it. Rod Brown upended big time by Jimmy Hitchcock at the 33.
Hey, that was just a battle of who was going to get lower, and Hitchcock, who's playing with a broken arm and a cast on his arm, says, I can get lower than you, thinking you can run me over. What do you think of this?
Take a seat.
That's just a great play by Hitchcock, who, as I said, is a pro prospect, and he's not afraid to stick it in there and take that fullback on.
That's not the main reason you wear a tailbone pad, but it sure came in handy that time. It's close enough to the first down that they're going to measure.
Yeah, he bounced when he hit the ground.
He did.
Right now.
And it's just enough for a first down.
9 yards, first down.
As Mike O'Kane, I'm sure he'd like to see this drive continue. Last time there was a turnover as the Wolfpack was moving the football. You know, they can get the football in the end zone before the end of the quarter, and they have to think turnover defensively. But there's been some wild games between these two teams over the years, and when you have a hot rivalry like this, the game is never over until the final whistle blows.
And a whistle blew to stop that play as Carlos King took the handoff, but a illegal procedure against the offense signaled by referee Mike Dover before the snap.
All right, dead ball foul, ball start before the snap of the ball, 5 yards, first down.
That's the first penalty today against NC State. That's something positive they can talk about, that they haven't had a number of penalties. Texas Tech beating Texas. A record crowd here at Kenan Stadium today, 54,300. 54,300 for an all-time Kenan Stadium record attendance. Harvey looking long. Incomplete, and Goins will drop the flag. Eric Thomas interfering with Eddie Goins inside the 5.
Goins has not seen a lot of action today. Caught one pass for 5 yards. There was a near interception the time that NC State went to him. Now you can see right there, banging around. Eric Thomas goes to the receiver first before he locates the football. And that's pass interference, but that might be a great play by Eric Thomas.
15-yard penalty, previous spot, automatic first down.
Think about the alternative, a touchdown to Eddie Goins. NC State starts to get some momentum in this football game. Instead, he gives up 15 yards by bumping Goins off the football. I have to credit Eric Thomas with a heads-up play because he knew he was beat.
It moves the ball inside the 23 of Carolina. First down, NC State, as Harvey goes from the shotgun. 3 wide receivers to the left. And he runs it. Harvey still going. And he gains about 8 down to the 15.
Well, that'd be, I'm sorry, Steve.
I was going to say that Sean Boyd brought him down.
Yeah, this is the option right out of the shotgun, something you don't see very often, but he still has pitch relationship with 35 Rod Brown, who you see appear there at the end of the play. But Harvey, with some strong running on his own, moves the football ahead.
Rod Brown not only appeared, he appeared to be in on the tackle. Rod Brown, the fullback, straight ahead. It's down near the 12. Knocked down by Kibusama Mays, number 53. Time running down here at the end of the third quarter. And it is enough for a first down. And in an effort to get one more play in before the end of the quarter, State will go without the huddle. Now, time called by Carolina with 7 seconds remaining in the third.
Well, I think Carolina saw a set that they weren't sure they could defend. And to them, it's not a time issue here. They wanted to make sure that they had the right defense called, the right personnel on the field for this situation with 1st and 10.
So each team has used a timeout here in the second half, each team with 2 remaining. Carolina leading 31-3, final seconds of the third quarter. Kansas State beating Oklahoma by 17. This game has gone about 50% of the way we thought it would, John, with Carolina running the football. But NC State's inability to run the football, I think, is somewhat of a surprise.
Yeah, I thought they'd be able to move the football a lot better than they did, especially, or so far have today, especially with Tremaine Stevens and the breakout game he had a couple weeks ago against Wake Forest. Brian Fitzgerald, and both of these teams are real similar in that they use 2 tailbacks, 2 fullbacks, and they keep their people fresh in the backfield, and they run to win. Of course, NC State came in ranked 2nd in rushing in the ACC, but so far today, Tar Heels have certainly had the better of them offensively and defensively.
So unless we have a penalty, this will be the final play of the third quarter. The ball at the 12 of North Carolina. It is 1st and 10 for State. Harvey again will go from the shotgun. This time the wideouts are to the right. Setting up the screen, he throws it back to Rod Brown. Brown does not get out of bounds. He goes down near the 5-yard line as time runs out in the quarter. So NC State will have a scoring threat and a 1st and goal. We'll return with more action after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Nearing twilight time in Carolina. Is it twilight time for NC State? Steve Zabriskie, John Spagnola, and Gary Reasons with you for the final 15 from Kenan Stadium. Hitchcock trying to get the crowd going as NC State has the first real opportunity to score a touchdown today. 1st and goal just inside the 5. Carlos King banging and spinning down near the 2. 11 plays on this drive for NC State so far. The first real good big drive they've been able to sustain.
Yeah, the only other good drive they had led to a field goal. But this is by far the farthest penetration they've had in this football game, as that field goal came from 50 yards out.
It has been all Carolina to this point. Leon Johnson with 3 touchdowns for North Carolina. There's the drive so far. 2nd and goal. Tremaine Stevens, 2nd effort touchdown. Eddie Mason got him, but Tremaine Stevens with great 2nd effort punched it in for State's first score on a 3-yard run.
A good call by Ted Kane. Usually when they go to this formation with that motion, they run to the right side. This time they go back the other way and run left. And with a great 2nd effort from Stevens, usually they run right out of this motion and formation. Instead they run left. Steve Kine pulls around, but watch Tremaine Stevens gets hit there, but he's able to push hard to get in the end zone.
Viditek on for the extra point. Steve Viditek has kicked 19 of 20 this year. And Carolina trying to fight and hold him out of the end zone. Cannot stop Tremaine Stevens. 31-10. That's all next Saturday, but right here, NC State trying to come back against their rivals, with Carolina having jumped out to a big lead.
And see the odd formation they use. They bunch in together here on their kickoff team, and Viditek usually will kick to his left, and everybody will stay on this side of that far hash mark for better coverage down the football field. There he pulls it to his left.
Marcus Wall, number 14 deep, takes it at about the 2. And tripped up, possibly by his own guy, as Greg Williams was making a block. Wall sort of tripped over him, but Dave Janik, number 34, was down there for State. A very impressive 80-yard, 12-play drive.
Yeah, good balance, too. Rushing football 7 times, passing it 5 times. And Steven goes in with that 3-yard touchdown run. Now, at least the defense here has had a little bit of a rest and see if they can get that deep penetration and get that first down stoppage that Gary Reasons told us Ken Pettis wants out of that defensive unit.
Malcolm Marshall and Curtis Johnson in the backfield, and Curtis has the ball. Tripping over one player, but regaining his balance and falling forward for a gain of about 4. DeJuan Everett got inside and got a piece of him. Finally tripping him.
Well, when you're running, you have to watch the block. Fullback Malcolm Marshall hits out on Reeves, but there's nothing to break outside there. Curtis showing some good agility in the backfield as he dances around the players and works his way against the cutback for a positive gain.
Curtis Johnson with 48 yards. Leon with over 100 as Stanicek runs the option. Keeps it and gets across the 25 for a gain of about 3. James Walker, number 2, the free safety on the stop. Stanicek with that carry just set a new school record for Carolina. Yet another for him with the most offensive plays, 889 offensive plays. Charlie Choo-Choo Justice records are falling left and right with Stanicek in there.
Yeah, he already has the career yards, total offense. He has career passing yards. Just adds total plays. There's jersey that's been retired.
Choo-Choo's number. Third down 2. Big play for both teams right here. Curtis maybe has it out. Very close to the first down. Carl Reeves, 85, making the tackle for State. And Damian Covington also in on the play. Covington slow to get up. I don't know whether it's just that he was tired or whether he was in fact shaken up a little bit on that hit. A reminder that, time permitting, the 50 Car Rental post-game report will be coming up right after the game, bringing you up to date on everything that has happened in college football. Maybe a look ahead at games tonight as well. And as you see, short of the first down by about a foot, maybe less than a foot. Carolina will punt. And NC State's defense did exactly what they wanted to do after the offense scored. They wanted to hold them. Mike Thomas, the backup quarterback to Stanicek, and the guy who should be a good one for North Carolina. And there's Eddie Goins standing back near his 30. Goins calling for the fair catch, takes it at the 36. So NC State will have fairly decent field position, and Thomas did not like that kick as it was only 36 yards. CFA College Football on ABC Sports, brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. Sprint Business, we help business do more business. Hitachi makes over 20,000 innovative products. And UPS, the package delivery company more companies count on. 12:21 to go. NC State trailing by 21 points, has the ball back, 1st and 10 at their own 36.
1st and 10 at the 36.
Brown and Fitzgerald in the backfield behind Harvey. Harvey looking to throw. Swings it out to Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald run out of bounds by Eddie Mason at the 42.
Harvey's pass is complete to Fitzgerald. Eddie Mason makes the tackle over
A gain of about 5 or 6. Baylor big over Houston.
43.
And Missouri will do 30.
And 3 yards to the first down.
Tremaine Stevens in now at tailback for NC State. Second down, about 4. Harvey options. Stevens takes the pitch with one hand, and Jimmy Hitchcock calls him down short of the first down.
Well, that's good defense, good swarming defense. Not a very effective pitch here by Harvey, but Tremaine Stevens sticks that paw out there, gets his hands on it before Jimmy Hitchcock wraps him down. That could have been another disastrous turnover here for NC State, as they have a critical 3rd and short situation here.
3rd down, 1 yard to go. Really about 1.5 yards if you want to be technical. Harvey went to throw the ball and lost it, and he's going to be dropped inside the 35. Greg Black and Riddick Parker. Greg Ellis also in there. All 3 of them around Harvey, who just had the ball inexplicably pop out of his hand.
Yeah, and after the play, you could see him motion to the official that the ball was wet. Look at the thing just slip right out of his hand as he tries to go to his wide receiver, Jimmy Grissett. He gets it back, so it's not a turnover, but right at the end of the play here, he looks up at the referee and says this ball was wet, and you could see the exasperation on the face of not only Terry Harvey but his head coach Mike O'Kane.
A loss of 11, so Robson into punt on 4th down. Barnes and Leon Johnson are back, and it'll be Octavius Barnes at the 15. A lot of white shirts and nowhere to go. Maybe 1 yard on the return is all. To about the 16, a 50-yard punt by Chad Robson. Mark Thomas, 24, who's done a good job on special teams, made the play, but a flag is down back upfield at the 45. As Michael Dover, the referee, checks it out. Got a 5-yard face mask against the receiving team, North Carolina.
Yards, incidental face mask, 5-yard penalty from the end of the kick, post-scrimmage foul, first down.
Well, we'll take a break. Carolina with the lead here in the 4th quarter. They will have the ball deep in their own territory when we come back. Let's go back to September 29th, 1990. Close games have been the norm around here. NC State's Damon Hartman kicked a 56-yard field goal in 1990 as time ran out to give the Wolfpack the win over the Tar Heels here at Kenan Stadium, 12-9. Steve Viditek, who's done such a great job kicking for State, would probably dearly love to be in that position in this game to be able to win. But they're 21 points down with 10:42 to play.
Yeah, the Wolfpack would have to score a lot of points before he could get in that position.
1st and 10 from the 11 for Carolina. Curtis Johnson breaks 1 tackle and squirts forward for 5. DeJuan Everett had him in the backfield, but Kit Carpenter, number 40, had to make the tackle upfield. Now Texas A&M has come back to tie SMU 21 all in the 4th. Thomas with a 35-yard touchdown run.
Carolina beat SMU 28-24 earlier this year. Tough place to go to play football and offensive. North Carolina on pace with 209 yards today, but NC State way behind what they've been able to average rushing the football.
Curtis Johnson on 2nd down breaks another tackle in the backfield and has a 1st down out at the 26. Ricky Bell, number 42, dragged him down. Kit Carpenter is into the game at linebacker, number 44, NC State, because Damian Covington is out, their leading tackler. That was a gain of 11 by Curtis. There's Kit Carpenter, a redshirt freshman from Dalton, Georgia. And we'll try to get a report, see if in fact Covington is injured. He did leave the game toward the end of the 1st half for a few plays as well. Carolina at their own 26, 1st and 10. Leon Johnson cannot get back inside.
Leon Johnson tries the right
Good
side.
play by Morocco Brown, who's in at linebacker, number 48, and Eric Counts,
Eric Counts,
99.
Gain of 1. Ball at the
Carolina
27.
continues to eat time off the
Second
clock.
and 9.
Precious seconds ticking away here against the Wolfpack.
Leon has now carried 18 times for 118 yards. And Damian Covington is back into the game for State.
You know, he may just be plumb worn out.
Yeah, I may
After
just
making
give
so
him a
many
couple
tackles
plays
and
off. Yeah.
being on the field for as long as he's been on the field today, in excess of 30 minutes. 32 minutes and 30 seconds this defense has been on the field.
Leon Johnson.
Leon Johnson.
Gain of 3 or 4 out near the 30. Dewan Everett, number 16, and Mike Harrison, 73, making the tackle. And Oscar Sturgis getting a little ice on the lower back.
Well, you know, when you win this game, it means a lot for recruiting in this state. You can beat NC State, and then you can beat Wake Forest, you can beat Duke. Mac Brown, you know, he's got 18 starters in his starting lineup of his starting 22 are from this state, North Carolina. So it means a lot to show that kind of dominance within the state, because this is still a strong area that he needs to recruit from.
Well, that's for sure. 3rd and 7. Leon Johnson taking a swing pass, and a flag goes down as Johnson is just tripped up on a fine play by James Walker. Walker was being blocked, but somehow managed to get a hold of one of Johnson's feet, and he's signaling that the penalty is going to be against Carolina.
And it's going to be a hold, I believe, against Carolina. Because the official moved the flag about a yard further back against Carolina.
Wiggle block in the back above the waist. Penalty decline. Foul against the Blues. It's going to be 4th down.
Well, because they didn't get the first down, they decline it.
Left side of your screen, 76. That's Raj Ferguson. They're calling that the push in the back. I don't know if a defensive back turns his back on you as you're going at him. I don't know if that could be ruled a push in the back.
That's why that penalty is so tough, so tough. And they do it obviously to save injuries. As Eddie Goins drops back looking for Mike Thomas's punt. Thomas came into the game averaging 41 yards a kick. Hangs this one high. Goins fair catching it at the 34. We have 7:40 left to go in the game, and State has the ball, but they're down 21. Next Saturday here on ABC Sports, college football again with Miami and Syracuse in a Big East matchup. That's the game most of you will see. There'll also be Big Ten and Pac-10 action yet to be announced, so be sure to check the local listings for the game in your area. 3:30 Eastern time next Saturday, college football again here on ABC. They mark the ball near the 35. 1st and 10. Harvey firing it, completing it. Eddie Goins with a reception for a first down near midfield. Tripped up by Sean Boyd, the strong safety.
And a good completion by Harvey. A nice catch by Goins, and State is going to go to their hurry-up offense as they have a lot of numbers to make up on that scoreboard.
Harvey from the shotgun without a huddle. Swings it out to Carlos King, and I think number 87 Greg Ellis may have gotten a hand on that ball and tipped it. Ellis at 6'6", 250.
In from the right side, tall guy gets his hand up in the air, bats that football away at 6'6". He's airborne like that. That hand must have been about 10 feet up in the air. Certainly a lot higher than our hands have ever ventured.
Got that right. 2nd and 10. Still at midfield. Play action out of the shotgun. Harvey completing it to Goins, who's bumped out of bounds at the 29 of Carolina with a first down. Simmons and Thomas there. And let's find out about those Ducks. John Saunders.
Well, the Ducks are quacking pretty good right now. Danny O'Neill to Josh Wilcox, 15 yards here to give Oregon a 10-9 lead. At the end of the day, it could be a 4-way tie for the lead in the Pac-10. If the Ducks win, it's a 3-way tie, and Washington State faces Cal later tonight. Steve.
That's a good point, John. That Washington State game later tonight could have a big impact on what happens, especially if Oregon were to win the game today. 1st and 10. NC State at the Carolina 29, down by 21. Harvey Looking again for Goins, but it's incomplete. Kerry Mock had the coverage, and the clock stopping on the incompletion. So now Harvey's trying to get him to go quickly. That previous reception by Eddie Goins has made him the #1 receiver in NC State history in career yardage.
That's the record held by Naz Worthen. He's broken all the other records. And there's a record breaker right there as he has the career yardage numbers and receptions.
2,255 yards to the moment. And more for Eddie, but not too many more as he slips trying to come back at about the 27. Covered there by Greg Ellis.
I think he was trying to do too much with the football there. He had some running room had he just stayed, but I think he felt somebody was trailing him. Got caught in the middle of the field where the turf's a little sloppier. Right here, if Eddie Goins just keeps running with the football, he might make more yardage, but he slips in that turf in the middle of the field.
3rd down and 8. Harvey with time. Over the middle, tried to force it in there a little bit. Hitchcock had the coverage on Adrian Hall, and it's incomplete. Adrian Hill, rather than Hall, the intended receiver. Good play by Hitchcock.
And Hitchcock can play corner or safety. He played some safety last year. Very good in cover. Remember when he made that big hit on the fullback earlier, Rod Brown. He's not afraid to cover wide receivers either. That ball is just a little bit behind Hill, made it a difficult pass to catch, and also allowed Hitchcock to drive in and knock it away with his right arm. So we've got a critical 4th down situation here for State.
Harvey 13 of 26 for 96 yards. 4th and 8. Incomplete and almost intercepted. It was in Jimmy Grissett. Omar Brown had the coverage, and Grissett could not hold on. 16.
Omar Brown's made a number of plays today. Remember when he jumped up for that interception earlier, but here he is. Let's see if he gets a hand in on this or if Grissett just drops the football. No, that just bounces right off his pads. The pass was too hot for Grissett. He should have caught the ball. He never got his hands up as he tried to cradle it in on his shoulder pads, and it bounced away. So bad drop by Grissett.
Hard to cradle it with the face mask.
That's a horrible sound too, that doink sound, whether it's your face mask or off your shoulder pads.
Chris Watson, number 6, in at full. Leon Johnson, the tailback, and Leon has the ball. Again, bouncing off tacklers, falling forward for 3 or 4 out to the 31. Mike Harrison, 73, and James Walker on the stop. Let's go down to Gary Reasons on the sideline.
Steve, we talked at the top of the telecast about bragging rights for this North Carolina team. At 31-10 today, they've got the bragging rights going. But it means more so is what John said in recruiting. These coaches, when they go out to talk to prospects, potentially coming in here or going to North Carolina State, that 31-10 point difference in this ball game is a big decision right there for those guys. They have about 35 recruits here at the ball game, and I believe the North Carolina recruits are very happy. Steve?
Going along. Stanicek intended for Octavius Barnes. Gray Major, number 9, had the coverage and just overthrown.
I would think one of the recruits are here today is a kid by the name of Dan Kendra, who's from my hometown area. Goes to high school in Bethlehem Catholic, and this is a guy who's rated as the top-ranked quarterback in high school in the country. So the mere fact that Mack Brown can bring a kid like that in shows that he's expanding that base of recruiting beyond the state borders, which is something he has kind of in a pipeline as younger players, sophomores and freshmen. More of them are from outside of North Carolina, which I think he needs to do to take the next step from competing in the ACC to competing nationally.
3rd down and 7. I think that's the way it is for almost every program. Watson, the fullback, with a short gain and not enough for the 1st down.
Eric Counts on the tackle for the back and 2 yards to the 33.
Look at Penn State 56-6 over Ohio State. I guess
Tell you what, they're making a date for number 1, aren't they?
The pollsters are going to have something to think about, aren't they? That Nebraska win was a big win today, especially with Brooke Behringer there at quarterback for Tommy Frazier, who may return, they say, for the Orange Bowl. And then Penn State answers the call, so it's in the what do we say, the hands or the pens of the scribes?
Hands of the pollsters. Coaches. Well, I'll tell you what, we got to have a national championship sooner or later. Mike Thomas on to punt on 4th down. Eddie Goins back. Goins will come up again, calling for the fair catch. And about the 32. Only 4:49 left to go for NC State. They have the ball, but they're down. Tomorrow, here on ABC Sports, 1 o'clock. And then Nick Price and the PGA Tour's top money winners take aim at their richest event, appropriately called the Tour Championship. Final round coverage tomorrow afternoon after the skating here on ABC Sports. Time called by North Carolina. They apparently didn't like what they saw. We'll be back. More great college football for you next Saturday here on ABC at 3:30 Eastern Time. It'll be Miami and Syracuse from the Carrier Dome, a Big East matchup. That's the game most of you will see. College football next Saturday, 3:30, right here on ABC. Well, the whole second team offensive line. There's Scott Woods, 79. He's Heath Woods' twin brother, and that's why Heath went over to NC State so they could be together. But Heath's not in there right now. Harvey on first down swings it out to Carlos King. And Carlos dragged down by Fuzzy Lee. That stops the clock with 4:42 left.
You know, with all the wholesale substitutions, there's Scott Wood's brother Heath, who started at right tackle today. Scott actually started as a true freshman, but then has had a bunch of injuries over the years and never quite got back to starting for him. But I'm surprised that Harvey's still in the ball game with all the other backups up front.
Yep, that's true. Shovel pass to Carlos King. Or no, Fitzgerald it is. Fitzgerald 38 rather than 39. Oscar Sturgis number 80 and Greg Ellis 87 make the tackle. Clock running. Less than 4.5 to go. Third down. About 4. Harvey buying some time, but still can't find anybody open. Now he throws back for Carlos King, incomplete. He also had Mike Guffey there, number 4, and Omar Brown had the coverage.
I think he was going to Guffey. I think he was going to Guffey, and was it Carlos King that jumped up and knocked it away?
Yep.
There's a play action fake. You see Goins coming to the outside. Sean Boyd started to drive that. So Harvey starts to go back to the middle of the football field. He tries to get the ball to Guffey, but his offensive player, Carlos King, made a great defensive play, knocking the ball down.
Goins was open for a few seconds, but Harvey apparently didn't see him. 4th down and 4. State trying to keep it going. Incomplete is intended for Mike Guffey. And a flag now comes in. Terry Billups, number 25, made the tackle on Guffey, and finally a flag is thrown. A little late, but it's interference against Billups and the Tar Heels.
Well, that call will be inconsequential to the outcome of this football game. It keeps the drive alive for the Wolfpack anyway.
Gets the defense. Spot foul. The ball reflected. Spot a foul. Automatic first down.
And that moves the ball to midfield.
It's a slant in pattern to Guffey, number 4. See Billups draped over him, and it's an accurate call. As Billups made contact before the ball arrived, and that is interference.
4:04 to go in the game. Harvey on first down from midfield under some pressure. Gets away. Gains about 6 before he is hammered. Sandwiched by Brian Simmons and others inside the 45 of Carolina. A&M and SMU still tied. Oh, it's over. It's over. How about that? SMU with a record of 1-7 ties one of the top teams in the country. Utah remaining unbeaten, hammering UTEP. That's over. Mercifully for Utah.
Mike McCoy, quarterback out there at Utah, having a great year.
Jimmy Grissett makes the catch and scrambles between 2 Carolina defenders, Fuzzy Lee and Terry Billups. He has a first down just inside the 35 of Carolina. 3 minutes, 20 seconds remaining in the game. Harvey to Carlos King.
Here go.
Trying to put a move on Phillips.
Harvey's pass complete to Carlos King.
But he will have none of it.
Terry Phillips makes the tackle.
Short game. They'll mark it at the 34.
Gain of 1.
Second down, 9.
Second and 9.
Ball started at the 34 in the Tar Heels.
Three minutes and 6 seconds remaining in the game. Harvey down the middle and complete. And a good job by Jimmy Grissett to hang on as he was hammered by Sean Boyd, the strong safety. Clock will stop at 2:58 on the first down while they move the chain.
It's one thing to go across the middle as a receiver. It's quite another to go across the middle late in the football game where you know everybody else knows you're going to get tagged. But Grissett with a nice job of holding on to the football.
He gained 11 and got a first down at about the 18. Harvey looking in the end zone. Touchdown. Mike Guffey.
Good reception by Guffey as he beats Fuzzy Lee in coverage. It's kind of a deep post pattern. Thrown in rhythm on time. You see Guffey right there streaking right down the middle of the field over the outstretched arms of Fuzzy Lee, and that's one of the better passes Harvey has thrown all afternoon.
Harvey has come on after a real shaky start to throw the ball much better here in the second half. Steve Viditek on to the extra point. It is good.
That's what happened in their last game against Wake Forest. The same thing, but with a different result.
That's right. 2:44 remaining in the game. It's now Carolina 31 and NC State 17. And our genuine Chevrolet most valuable players of the game are James Walker, the free safety of North Carolina State, who had a big day and was also shaken up a bit, and Leon Johnson of North Carolina, who carried the ball 20 times for 124 yards, scored 3 touchdowns, 1 running and 2 receiving. He also caught a total of 5 passes in the game, and as you see, had a total of 170 yards to go with those 3 scores. Chevrolet will donate $1,000 to each school's general scholarship fund to reward outstanding students for their academic achievements and to assist those in financial need.
Well, I'm sure we'll see Steve Viditek work on some onside kick. Saw him working on it yesterday during their walkthrough, and he'll probably line up on that right hash and bring it back to the left side of the football field and see if he can get somebody on his kickoff coverage team to recover the ball.
Just to emphasize that point on Harvey's improvement between the first and second half, he completed 5 of 13 in the first half for 10 yards, had 1 picked off. Here in the second yard, Terry Harvey is 15 of 22 for 139 yards and a touchdown with no interception. But it may be too little too late. Who's got it? Ball still going. And finally, Chris Watson, the 3rd team fullback, fell on it as it was going out of bounds.
Carolina, with this win today, has a schedule that becomes pretty favorable. They go to 6-2, 3-2 in the ACC, but they play Clemson at home. Clemson not playing all that well this year. They're at Wake Forest. And then the final game at Duke, which is a traditional rivalry here between Duke and North Carolina, and that should be a great matchup on November 19th.
That'll be just about as big as this one was as a rivalry. All 3 of these schools very close to each other. Mike Thomas in at quarterback, gives the ball to Leon Johnson, and Johnson just keeps on going as he gains about 8 on first down. Mike Thomas, a junior out of Hamlet, North Carolina, looked at by North Carolina to be the quarterback, with Stanicek a senior this year. Stanicek left the game throwing 9 completions in 13 attempts for 95 yards and 2 TDs. He only threw 3 passes in the second half. And there's Jason, who already has his pads off.
That's a great feeling as a player. Victorious on the sideline with the pads off. can sit back and assess the day's work and enjoy the end of the football game.
Chris Watson in at fullback in front of Leon Johnson, the tailback. And Watson gets the carry, spins out of one tackle, takes the umpire down as he gets to about the 37 of State. Knocked off his feet by 93, Brad Collins, a redshirt freshman who's in at defensive tackle for State.
It's Chris Watson, who doesn't see a lot of time because he's third string fullback, but is a very good fullback. And look out, Mr. Umpire.
Clark Gaston, the umpire, getting his feet cut out from under him.
Why anybody would want to be an umpire is beyond me. I mean, you're in the middle of the field with 22 people flying around. You've got to have eyes all around your head.
Mike Geeter, number 20, in a tailback, and he has the ball as he gets down to the 35. Tackled by Dre Major and Kit Carpenter, who actually tripped him up, number 40. 1:45, as you see, remaining in the game. And a timeout called by NC State now to stop the clock. Carolina will have it at the 35. Mike O'Kane, his team started off real strong this year and kind of lost their momentum.
And they've got some tough games ahead. They go to Maryland, then they have Duke at home, Florida State at home, and they're at Virginia. So those last 3 games are going to be extremely difficult for Mike O'Kane and company. And, you know, he had a week off last week. He was able to heal up some people defensively and get some people fresh for this football game. And they came in here today, and my hat's off to the Tar Heels because they just, from the opening whistle, played excellent football and did not give Mike O'Kane's team a chance to get back in this football game.
Mac Brown and his staff did an outstanding job, apparently, of getting Carolina back on track and rebounding from that loss at Virginia last week when they just didn't look good at all. They look like a whole new team. And I think a lot of people did think State had an advantage having the off week ahead of time. And with Carolina getting beaten last week at Virginia. But the Tar Heels have controlled this ball game. Maurice McGregor in at fullback now as he gets some sideways yardage, but not much forward. And it'll bring up 3rd down. And there's big 85 Carl Reeves, who's still in there going after it. Carl guaranteed the win for NC State, but it didn't happen. 31-17 Carolina with 1:36 left to play.
And that was Terry Harvey talking with his roommate and friend and backup quarterback Jeff Bender. Jeff has relieved him a couple of times this year, but I don't think you can fault Harvey for this loss. I think it's a total team loss, especially with the fact that Carolina was able to move the football so convincingly with time-consuming drives. But these guys are best friends. They're competitors. They live together. They fish together. They play golf together, and they compete on the field. And coaches here at North Carolina State have said that it's amazing, but they leave it on the field. They compete on the field, and they don't take it with them off the football field.
That's a healthy relationship. No, I think that's the key. Carolina controlled the football from the beginning of the game, and their ability to run the ball. In fact, they have exceeded today their rushing yardage in the average per game that led the ACC coming into this game. They've averaged 238, and behind Stanicek's leadership today, they've rushed for 250 yards plus. And you have a pretty good rushing defense.
Against a very good rushing defense till now, right?
Jonathan Litton, number 27, gets a chance in the backfield. He played very well today on special teams, and he carries it down to the 30, which will be 2 or 3 yards short of the 1st down. Tackled by Dre Major, number 9.
Mac Brown and his players have controlled this football game, as you said, Steve. I mean, they've had possession. They've had the ball for over 38 minutes in this football game. That's a long time to be running your offensive team on the field. And Stanicek, to his credit, came back from a tough loss against Virginia. I think, you know, that was one of those games where nothing goes right, and to his credit, he just bounced back from it. I think the whole team did, because nobody played well last week against Virginia.
Well, now NC State will have to do the same thing. They'll have to bounce back from this game, in which they had the ball controlled similarly to the way Virginia did it to North Carolina last week. They used their final timeout to stop the clock with 55 seconds remaining. Neither team now with a timeout remaining.
College football is so emotional that you never know how your team is going to show up week to week. And as bad as it may look today for NC State, they'll go to work next week. They have a good staff, good players. They work hard, and very easily they can get back on the right track next week. But certainly Carolina got to be congratulated for the way they played today. Just a thorough victory, offensively, defensively, special teams,
both
everything.
sides of the ball. You're right. The kicking game, the special teams play, everything was on track. Night is falling here at Chapel Hill, and a lot of Carolina Blue fans have already left pretty happy. 55 seconds left in the game. State cannot stop the clock as they're out of timeouts. And Mike Thomas will pitch it to Lincoln. Lincoln around the corner, bumped out of bounds. Gray Major just did get him, or he might have taken off for the end zone. Major used the sideline. That stops the clock with 49 seconds left. Major getting a chance to play in the secondary. Although he's a senior, he doesn't play that much.
And Jonathan Linton is the fellow that recovered that fumble by Goins, remember?
That's
and that
right.
was a key turnover earlier in this football game. So, you know, when you're a youngster, you can make plays in special teams, and that's what Linton did. Now he's getting some carries in the backfield in the football game.
He's a big boy. Chris Watson, the fullback, breaking tackles, and he rumbles down to about the 12. Gray Major again on the stop, along with Allen Johnson, 27. And Watson, I'll tell you, all three of these fullbacks are low. This guy's 235. The others are 240 and 245. As Watson rumbles for 12.
And he did something that Linton did not do, and Linton will learn to do, and that's stay in bounds at the end of a football game.
Clock running down. The final play should happen here as those fans that remain are up and cheering for the performance of their Tar Heels. Maurice McGregor is fullback. But it's the tailback, Mike Geter. The ball popped out. But they're going to rule that he was down at the 2-yard line. Ricky Bell making the play for State.
Well, Geter wanted to get in that end zone, didn't he?
He was running hard.
Just a freshman out of Arlington, Virginia.
They've already dumped water, Gatorade, something on Mack, and they're going to say, nope, just let the clock run out. And that's the thing to do. You can't keep the third and fourth teamers from trying, at least, as Michael Cain and Mack Brown meet. And the Battle of the Carolinas goes to North Carolina once again. 31-17. And here's where they got Mack.
You think Reasons taught him how to do this?
That's a Giants thing.
That's right. He and Harry Carson used to do this with Parcell all the time.
Steve Zabriskie for John Spagnola and Gary Reasons. We want to remind you that coming up next, the Thrifty Car Rental post-game report, bringing you up to date on everything that's happening and will happen in college football. North Carolina now has won 23 of its last 26 games here at home, and they win this one big, 31-17, as they really won it in the first half, John.
Yes, they did, and this series was 19-all since 1956, so now it's 20-19. But you're right, North Carolina came out and played excellent football, mistake-free football, and that is so often what you need to do in a big rivalry like this, whereas NC State turned it over 2 times. It was very critical. Eddie Goins turned it over, and then Terry Harvey with the turnover also on a pitch play, and that really hurt them today.
Florida State beat Duke. Florida State now the only unbeaten team in the ACC within the conference. Now stay tuned for the Thrifty Car Rental post-game report featuring scores and highlights from all across the country.